Hi there! So today in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips on how to start free motion quilting with your own home domestic machine. Now these tips are not exactly the one that will actually get you to the machine and not the practical stuff, but I think they are essentials in starting free motion quilting, and they're essential to keep you getting to the finish line of free motion quilting. So if you've been wanting to make those beautiful quilting textures on your home domestic machine but you haven't just got there yet, maybe these tips will help you. So you want to make sure you stick with me to the end. Hi, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, I am Amira of thenewtonmushroomcat.com, where I share my quilting journey, my quilting tips and tutorials on the blog, and share a lot of the things that I learn as my quilting journey progresses to inspire you to make the quilts that you love and enjoy the process as we make it. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips on how to start free motion quilting on your home domestic machine. Now I truly believe that these tips are going to be game changing because it's all about mind setting, and mindset is the most important thing to keep you going. And I think with free motion quilting or any other skills that are new to you, you need the right mindset. And the first mindset tips that I want to give you is actually to know that this is going to be a big learning curve. You're not going to get it perfect for the first time, and you are going to go through a process of learning and practicing with free motion quilting, and you are going to evolve as you actually do more practices. So you need to do more actions rather than just thinking about it. Now it's easy to get discouraged if you didn't actually put in the first place that this is going to be hard, and I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to start wherever I am. Everyone starts somewhere and they get better with practice. So if you don't do the action, you'll always be in that stop place, like you know it's going to be hard. So it's either that you get stuck in that you know it's going to be hard, or you get right into it without knowing that it's going to be hard. So you have to get in that right mindset, knowing that it's going to be hard, but you're going to take it and do it anyway, and you get better with practices. Now I'm going to tell you that your first few practices may not look as close to what you imagine or the pretty photos that you see on the internet. Of course, everyone goes through that phase of starting, and they probably start ugly too, but they just don't share it. But I myself started bad as well, and I hated my stitches, but I know that I have to go on because this was something that I really wanted to do, and I know that I couldn't afford at that time. I couldn't afford sending out my quilts, and I wanted that beautiful swirly stitches, and I have to do it myself. So I have to get practicing and get it done. So that's why it keeps me practicing, and then I eventually get better at it, and I'm sure that you will too. So just keep on practicing. Now in saying that, you know that it's going to be difficult and you don't want to just jump right into the stitching. I do recommend that you start doodling first. If you don't know what to practice, you can actually join my free e-course that's available on the blog. Just put your email in and you get email courses that is sent to you a day by day, and it teaches you what to practice, and each day it just gives you a little bit of something to actually start with. So it doesn't have to start at the machine right away, because I teach you how to start doodling and what to doodle, and then you can move on to the machine and start practicing on the machine. So the practice bit is not just on the machine, but it's also on the mindset, which are the tips that I'm sending you today, and also on the movement that can actually be installed when you are practicing doodling. So you basically, when you start doodling, you kind of install this motion, and that builds the memory muscles inside your brain on how to actually do the motion. So when you get to the machine, it gets easier. In saying that, that comes to my second tip. So my second tip is not to try your first attempt at free motion quilting on your machine with your newly dearly made quilt top. Now I know that a lot of you probably think that I have a quilt top that's done. Now I'm going to try this new technique that I've just learned from tons of videos. I haven't actually done any practices on the machine, neither have done any doodling, and I want to get straight to practicing my free motion quilting skills. Now I don't want you to do that, because it's actually 2 different things that you're doing at the same time. One is actually to quilt a large quilt free motionly, and the other one is the free motion quilting design itself. So I really recommend you to practice the motions and all the designs on a small practice sandwiches first before you move on to your quilt, because I've made the same mistake. Although it looked okay on the front side, on the back side, when I look at it, there was a lot of folds in the backing, and I just couldn't actually come to the end with that quilt. But I did bind it and just sent it away. So I gave it to someone, and I didn't even look at it anymore. And I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that. So you don't want to start with a quilt first. You want to start with small projects like a placemat or a hot pad and make them useful. So by doing small projects, you're not actually wasting fabrics or materials, because then you can use all these small projects and you can turn them into small little things that's useful around the house, like a hot pad, like a pouch. I will share a link down below to a tutorial of a boxy pouch where I share how to hide your stitches. So if you are still practicing, you want to hide your stitches because you don't want to see it as much, and you can actually use it in making pouches, and your pouches is going to be so useful that you don't even remember to actually practice on it. So it's not going to be a waste, and I love those kind of projects because it keeps you going and you don't feel like you're wasting, so you keep on practicing. And that's really important in free motion quilting. You just need to practice, so you need to kind of like overcome all the resistance of getting you to practice even more. So now we come to the last tip, and the last tip is actually to have a lot of grace on yourself. So when you're actually working, you are being critical on yourself and you're being critical on your stitches, you're thinking about how bad it looks like. Don't do that. So you have to have a lot of grace on yourself and just keep on flowing. Just enjoy the process. It may not look as good just yet, but just keep on practicing with the smaller project. Move on to the next project, move on to the next project, and by the time you know it, you'll be good at all the stitches already, and then you can move on to your quilt. Because I want you to pat yourself on the back for taking the action, and that's really important for you to keep on moving and practicing even more. I know that with practices, free motion quilting do get easier and your machine won't act up as much as it did when you first started. Now, while there are tons of tutorials out there that you can watch that is free on the YouTube or paid ones, I would love to invite you to join the free mini email course that I have on the blog, or the free motion quilting bootcamp, which is a paid course but it teaches you step by step on how to do different designs, and then it has a video on showing you what are some of the common mistakes and some of the things that you need to be considering when doing certain designs. It also teaches you how to handle a large quilt at the end of that course, so you want to be able to transition from the practice pieces into your larger quilt easily. So the motion is going to be pretty similar, so that when you're actually working on your larger quilt, it'll be roughly about the similar motion, so you don't have that sudden shock of how to actually cover a large quilt as compared to your smaller practices, because those two are two different learning curves. So you want to be able to know how to do the motion, and then after that handle a large quilt, because when you're handling a large quilt, there's a lot more that comes to it, and you have to have more endurance to keep on going to finish and complete the whole big quilt. But don't worry, I'll be sharing more tips as we go along on this YouTube journey. I hope that you stay with me, and if you like this kind of tips, make sure you click on the like button and also subscribe to my channel. And if you want to check out some more quilting tips, make sure you check what's in the channel so far, and I hope to see you again there. Bye bye.